Hi everyone, Nigel Saunders here. Today I am preparing my mixed northern bog forest for the Kitchener-Waterloo Fall Show for 2025. This forest is a mix of native larch trees and native black spruce. Here is a look at the forest. So I did some work on this in the summer preparing it, but I haven't done a lot of work on the landscape yet. I did weed it, I pruned up the trees. I am starting to get some fall colors. Well, it had fall colors. This one larch tree is turned yellow and is losing its needles already. This one's starting to get fall colors. The ones that are nice and compact and healthy are doing really well. They're still quite a dark green color. The black spruce are doing well. I did get a lot of dieback, but it still looks like an attractive forest, and it maybe looks a little more natural with a few trees having troubles. Yeah, so I don't know if there's a whole lot I can clean up on the forest other than just cleaning the landscape up a bit, getting rid of all these dead needles. These two trees here had really large needles, so I will have to probably just remove all the needles so they're just bare for the show. They look out of scale compared to all the other trees. And just a little bit of weeding. There's a few weeds that have popped up. And I think that's it. Maybe a hint of a pathway into the forest. Yeah, we'll see. So I'm going to begin by weeding, just getting rid of all the weeds that have popped up. It's not too many, but there is some. Little bits of liverwort there. Bit of Irish moss. Yeah, I must have done a fairly good job weeding last time because not very many weeds come up. There's Kitty trying to get in again. There is some moss on this side that doesn't look good at all. So I'm just going to pull this out and replace it. It's just all dead and it's really long. It doesn't look to scale. It's too coarse looking. So I have some fresh moss I collected that I can replace that with. Yeah, next I've got to pick off all these needles that have fallen down. There's quite a few off the larch, especially in this area over here. And I may have to, like I said, kind of defoliate this larch. It's almost, you know, the needles are falling off now anyway, so if I defoliate it a little early, it doesn't really matter to the health of the tree. It just gets rid of all those long needles. Yeah, these trees didn't do really well in spring. Some of the branches died off, and so I haven't been able to prune them much because they just didn't grow that well. So all these long needles are like from the first flush of growth, and they're really big. Yeah, so I'll just work away, cleaning up all these needles, defoliating the big long needles off the tree. And I think that'll get, you know, a lot of the work done on the forest. I think, you know, that's most of the work I'll be doing. I don't think there's any pruning to be done. It hasn't grown since the last time I pruned it. So yeah, I think it's just a lot of cleanup today. And I do have a stand for it. Matt made me those two large stands for these size pots. So I have a choice of two stands for this forest. So I'll pick out the one that looks the best with it once I've finished cleaning it all up. And I'm not sure how much light I will get. It's getting on to be late in the afternoon now. I've been working on trees all day. So I will work. It is orchard day today too, so I should help out in the orchard tonight. So yeah, I might get maybe another hour on this. I've been working away, cleaning up the forest floor. So there's a look at everything I've taken out. Weeds, dead moss, a bit of everything, all kinds of needles that have fallen down. So the forest floor is looking much, much better. I still have some work to go on it to get it all cleaned up, but it's looking much better now. So I will continue the work tomorrow morning, getting this forest ready for the show. So I will see everyone in the morning. It is the next day now. I finished cleaning off all the needles from the surface of the moss, picking out all the weeds, so it's looking quite nice now. So I think my next step, I have these long needles on some of these larch here, so I'm going to cut them in half. I could pluck them off and just make the trees bare, but I might as well keep a bit of green on them. So I'll just kind of trim them down in size. They should look quite nice for the show. Here's a look at the area I'm working on. So these needles are quite a nice size on this larch. But this one has the really long needles, and the two over here have really long needles. So I'll just come in and trim the needles back. They'll be falling off the trees soon. You can see some of them are going yellow and it's already lost some of the needles. Yeah, they were just growing a little weaker, these ones, so I didn't pluck off the first flush of needles. They were a little weak looking, so they've kind of gained strength over the summer and should be quite good next year. Yeah, it makes it match the rest of the trees now. Okay, I guess I'll have to clean up those needles now. I'm having a look at the forest now just to see if there's anything that stands out to me. I see a few weeds back in here. Pick those out. I think the trees are looking good. I don't think I need to do any pruning. Just having a look to see if there's any branches sticking out that are a little obvious. This one looks a little funny, but that's my leader and I want to grow that one a little taller. So yeah, some of these trees, you know, it's a mix of some of the older trees. Some of them died. I replaced them with newer trees, and yeah, there's some that need a bit maturing, but I think it's looking quite good overall. And there's, I think, one totally dead tree back in here, and this one, it's alive. It's got lots of foliage on this side, but the top is dead. But it kind of makes it look more realistic. So I think everything's good. I've always had kind of deer trails through here. I could make those, I don't want to make it too obvious. I want it to look quite natural, but I could kind of clear out a bit of moss to make the deer trails. I think I'll do that. And there's a few spots over here where I've been picking weeds out that there's no moss, and I could plant a little more of the moss in those areas. So I'll work on that. So I'll just come in and just take away a bit of the moss to kind of make a subtle trail. I'm getting a lot of surface roots from the trees growing across the forest floor. So as these trees mature and those roots get larger, it should look quite realistic, because you see that in forests, that the roots kind of take over the forest floor. I think that's pretty good. I think that looks quite subtle, but it's there. Okay, so next I'll just do a little moss planting in some of the areas that are a little bare. I don't want to make it look too even, but maybe just, you know, the odd clump here and there in the forest. I've got my tray of moss here, so I can just plant little clumps throughout the planting. So here I go. Now, I'll put a clump in here. There's not much happening in between these trees. Okay, and around here I have a lot of empty space there, So I think I need some moss at the edge here. And most forests I walk through, you know, they don't have ground cover throughout the whole forest. There's often bare spots that are just soil. But if you make your forest look too realistic, it loses kind of that ideal forest look. It can look very cluttered and chaotic, and you know, these forests are kind of fantasy forests in a way, that they're idealized, I guess is the word. We're not 100% realistic. And as I said, I've tried the realistic look, and it just makes the forest look cluttered and chaotic. And it may look more realistic, but it's, you know, photographers, when they're doing forest photography, they're always looking for simplicity, where, you know, it's not too cluttered. They're looking for a tree kind of out in the open. And that's the same with bonsai. You don't want your forest to look too cluttered, or it just looks a bit of a mess. That looks pretty even. I don't notice any areas of the forest that look too bare. Maybe this one spot here. Yeah, that looks pretty good. That's a nice level of moss. Could add one little piece in there too, maybe. In between these trees. I think I pulled out all that moss when I was weeding. Okay. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, I think my show prep is almost done. I just need to try it out on the stand, and I don't really need to do that because I've displayed this forest before and I know which stand I'm using, so I don't think I need to try it out on the stand. And I have to think about maybe an accent plant or something, Here is a look at the forest now, so I'll rotate it around so you can see it from all angles. So here's the front, coming around to the right hand side, to the back, to the left hand side. I could maybe add some moss there, and back to the front. That looks better. Today is the last day for show prep, so I'm hoping to get a few more trees ready for the show. Tonight I'm going to help set up the show, and tomorrow is the show. So it's in a greenhouse, so there should be really good light for the show. It should be a sunny day, so I'm quite excited to see everyone's trees. So that's all for today. I'm Nigel Saunders. Thanks for joining me in the Bonsai Zone.